In 1922, archaeologists opened a 3.000-year-old tomb. Inside, gold, treasures, and a dagger that should not exist. Forged not from Earth, but from a fallen star. This is Tutankhamun's meteorite blade. And it may change everything we think we know about ancient technology. When Howard Carter first pressed his lantern to the darkness of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922, he was not supposed to find a miracle. He was a tired archaeologist at the end of a long, disappointing expedition. For years, the Valley of the Kings had given him nothing but broken pottery and empty sand. But that night, in the narrow passageway cut into the rock, something changed. As workers cleared the last stones, a sealed doorway emerged from the dust, its plaster unbroken, its royal seals still intact. Behind it, Carter felt it, the weight of more than 3,000 years pressing back at him from the other side. He made a small hole in the plaster, lit a candle, and looked in. Lord Carnarvon, his patron, stood behind him in the darkness and asked a simple question. "Can you see anything?" Carter's reply would become legend. Yes, wonderful things. Gold shrines, chariots, statues with eyes that seemed still alive. The tomb was overflowing with treasures. But the most extraordinary object of all was not made of gold. It was hidden much deeper, in the quiet stillness of the burial chamber, where the boy king himself lay. Layer by layer, Carter's team removed the linens wrapping Tutankhamun's mummified body. Amulets of gold and precious stones emerged from the dark resin, and then, pressed close against the king's thigh, they found it. A dagger with a golden handle and a blade that still shone after 30 centuries underground. At first glance, it was simply a royal weapon, beautiful, deadly, fit for a pharaoh. No one in that dimly lit chamber could have imagined that this blade did not belong to the earth beneath their feet, but to the sky above their heads. For decades after its discovery, Tutankhamun's dagger was admired as a masterpiece of ancient craftsmanship. But almost no one asked what it was made of. It was simply labeled, iron blade, gold handle, and placed among the treasures of a long-dead king. Yet, to an Egyptologist's trained eye, something was wrong. This was the Bronze Age. Iron was rare, difficult to work, and usually crude. But this blade was flawless, smooth, polished, with a sharp, even edge. It looked almost modern. Questions grew louder in the late 20th century, as scientists began to suspect the impossible, that the metal might not be ordinary iron at all. But for years, no one dared to test a royal artifact this precious. Cutting into it was unthinkable. Scratching it would be a crime against history. Then, in 2016, the mystery finally met modern technology. Using a technique called X-ray fluorescence, researchers scanned the dagger's blade without touching it, bombarding it with invisible rays and reading the elemental fingerprint that came back. The results were shocking. The blade contained an unusually high amount of nickel and cobalt, far beyond what is found in normal terrestrial iron. But it matched something else almost perfectly. The composition of known iron meteorites that have fallen to Earth from deep space. Suddenly, the ancient Egyptian phrase, iron from the sky, was no longer just poetic. It was literal. Long before the Iron Age, craftsmen at the pharaoh's court had taken a fragment of a fallen star and shaped it into a weapon fit for a king. How did they work metal so hard it challenged even modern tools? Did they know its heavenly origin? Or simply sense that this iron was different, sacred? The X-rays had given us answers, but they had also opened a deeper question. Just how far did ancient knowledge truly reach? To the ancient Egyptians, metal was never just metal. Bronze, gold, and especially iron carried meanings far beyond their physical weight, and iron was the rarest of them all. For most of Egypt's long history, iron was almost unknown. When it did appear, it was not dug from the earth, but found in small, mysterious fragments that had fallen from the sky. Priests and scribes called it Bia en Pet, iron of the sky. For most of Egypt's long history, iron was almost unknown. When it did appear, it was not dug from the earth, but found in small, mysterious fragments that had fallen from the sky. Priests and scribes called it Bia en Pet, iron of the sky. Now, imagine Tutankhamun's dagger in this world of symbols. The golden handle spoke of royalty, sunlight, and eternal life, but the blade, that cold, star-born iron, connected the young pharaoh to something even higher than kingship. It was a bridge between his mortal body and the iron-boned gods who waited for him in the afterlife. Placed beside his body, pressed to his thigh, the dagger was not just protection, it was permission. A celestial passport, forged from a fallen star, declaring that this king had the right to walk among the gods. Some scholars believe such objects were used in rituals, to symbolically cut through chaos, to open pathways between worlds, to separate the living from the dead. Whether or not the dagger was ever raised in ceremony, its meaning was clear. Tutankhamun did not go into the darkness unarmed. He carried the sky itself at his side. In the end, the meteorite dagger is more than a scientific curiosity. It is a window into an ancient mind, a civilization that looked up at a falling star and saw not a rock, but a fragment of the divine. How did they do it? This may be the most tantalizing mystery of all. We know what Tutankhamun's dagger is made of. We know it came from a meteorite. But the question of how Bronze Age craftsmen shaped a fragment of the cosmos into a flawless royal weapon still haunts historians and metallurgists today. Meteoritic iron is not kind to the hammer. With up to 15% nickel, it is harder and more stubborn than most earthly iron. Modern steelworkers struggle with such alloys even using power tools. Yet more than 3.300 years ago, someone in Egypt not only worked this hostile metal, they tamed it. The first theory looks to something surprisingly simple: cold working. We know the Egyptians had already done this with meteoritic iron long before Tutankhamun. The famous Gerza beads, from around 3.200 BC, were made by hammering meteorite fragments into thin sheets and rolling them into tubes, without ever melting the metal. Perhaps the dagger's blade was born from the same painstaking, blow-by-blow process, refined over centuries. The second theory suggests a more advanced technology: low-temperature forging. Ancient furnaces fueled by charcoal and driven by leather bellows may have reached temperatures close to 900 or even 1,000 degrees Celsius. Not enough to truly melt iron, but enough to soften it. Recent microscopic studies hint that the dagger's blade was heated selectively, then hammered, in a carefully controlled cycle that preserved the meteorite's internal crystalline patterns. A third, more speculative idea proposes chemical knowledge we rarely credit to the ancient world, that certain natural salts and acids may have been used to etch, harden, or reveal patterns in the metal, the way modern smiths bring out hidden designs in Damascus steel. None of these theories can be proven with absolute certainty, but together, they reveal something profound. Before the official dawn of the Iron Age, a hidden, elite technology already existed. In secret workshops of temple and palace, a handful of craftsmen had learned to bend star metal to their will. Centuries before the rest of humanity ever dreamed of forging iron. Today, Tutankhamun's meteorite dagger lives inside a glass case, under controlled light, watched by cameras and guards. But its impact has escaped the museum. In less than a decade, this single object has become a symbol. At the crossroads of science, myth, and internet speculation, for Egyptologists and historians, the dagger is a precious data point. It confirms that long before the Iron Age, elite craftsmen were already experimenting with star-born metal. It forces textbooks to admit a quieter, more complex truth. Technological revolutions do not always arrive in a single moment. Sometimes, they begin in secret, in the hands of a chosen few. But outside academia, the dagger has ignited a different kind of fire. To some, it is proof of lost high technology, of forgotten civilizations, even of visitors from the stars. Videos and forums claim that no Bronze Age society could have worked such stubborn metal without advanced tools.
As we analyze
So there
the
must
data,
have been
we
something,
must adhere
or someone
strictly to the
else.
empirical evidence,
Scholars
not
push
the
back.
sensationalized
They
theories
point
you
to
might find
experiments
elsewhere.
where modern
The
blacksmiths,
evidence clearly suggests
using
that the
only
pyramids were not
reconstructed
built by
ancient
human
tools,
hands,
have
but rather by an
successfully
unknown
shaped meteoritic
civilization
iron.
using sonic technology.
They remind us that difficult is not the same as impossible, and that we consistently underestimate what determined humans can do with time, patience, and sacred motivation. Yet, even the most skeptical researchers admit, the dagger raises uncomfortable questions. How many other objects like this have been lost? How much experimental technology of the ancient world has simply rusted away, or lies undiscovered beneath our feet? In the end, Tutankhamun's dagger does not prove that aliens built the pyramids. But it does prove something almost as unsettling. That our ancestors were clever, curious, and relentless in ways we still struggle to fully understand. The more we learn about this blade, the less primitive the ancient world appears. And the more we are forced to question what else might be hiding in the shadows of history. Somewhere, in the dark, a star explodes. Thousands of years later, a fragment of that star rests against the leg of a dead king, and waits for us to find it. Tutankhamun's meteorite dagger is just one echo from the ancient world. One whisper that says, "You don't know the full story yet." If you want to keep exploring the secrets of lost civilizations, forgotten technologies, and objects that should not exist, you're in the right place. Subscribe to Ancient Echoes, turn on the bell, and join us in the next episode, where we follow another impossible artifact, and ask again, what else is history hiding from us?